everybody. It's Safi and Marco, dish out on the movies. And we're not doing a movie. We're doing the next episode in the latest Masterchef season. And it is season number, and this isn't the
Safi, I'll just take over for you while you continue eating your
dinner, my late dinner.
your masterpiece dinner. So, anyways, we're reviewing Masterchef, not Junior. We'll be doing that tomorrow night.
And it's not going to be
it's going to be 2 hours of bland crap. Because, who cares?
It's not it's not the final episode. It's
just... Yeah, it is.
I thought tomorrow night was the...
It's the first bloopers. Hour is a blooper, and the second hour is the finale.
Oh,
but it's like, who
It
cares?
again?
Who cares?
They've changed it so many times. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they keep on changing the schedule. But anyways, we're here to review MasterChef, Season 12, Episode 4. And the title was terrible.
It's really long.
It's like 6 words long. It's like Winner's Mystery Box, Spirit of Las Vegas. And honestly, all you need to do is call this Spirit of Las Vegas. And that's all I'm going to do when I put the title on the thumbnail picture. I'm not going to put MasterChef Season 12 minutes. That's stupid. Talk about convoluted. The same judges that complain about people putting too many elements on one dish. Oh, why don't these same judges pay attention to the fucking titles they pick out and say, you've convoluted the title with too many words? Why don't they do that, Safi?
Because they don't have anything to do with the titles.
Well, they should.
Unless he does.
They should.
Gordon Ramsay. Because I can see him micromanaging that, but I bet you have nothing to do with that.
This episode, it was okay. I'm not a fan of this show. I'm not a fan of... I think MasterChef Junior is a lot more enjoyable because the kids are a lot better competitors. They're a lot nicer. They're a lot more relaxed. The food looks better in MasterChef Junior. A lot of the food looked pretty boring and kind of just overly pretentious. And the competitors, they all look depressed and unhappy.
Stressed out.
And that's not fun to watch. And then the judges are acting pretty shitty again. And it's like, I don't enjoy this show. I don't enjoy it. I'm not a fan of this season.
Well, I just think they've put so much... And I guess the only good thing about it's equal opportunity. But they put so much stress on them.
Yeah.
First tonight... Well, I guess I shouldn't say anything yet, but they had one extra stress getting an ingredient which they had to make a dish from, and 2 of them don't even drink alcohol because they are too young, and they're young, and so they're really right off the bat at a disadvantage. And then, but the other thing that puts everybody at an equal opportunity. Stress, really ramping up the stress level, is making everybody make 3 dishes that are identical. Now, we have already seen what can happen when you have to do 3 identical dishes. You can have 2 perfect ones and one that didn't quite work out, and that gets your head chopped off. That was in MasterChef Junior, I know, but they're doing that in this show every single week. And the adults, unlike the kids, and Marco just said this, they are a lot more stressed out. They're a lot unhappier. I think they get along okay. I because the reason why is because they're under this equal opportunity extra stressor, and when they're under this much stress, I mean, anybody out there knows what extra stress is like. I mean, I do. It's no fun, and if it's no fun for the person experiencing it, it's no fun to watch them.
Yeah.
And so it's really, I mean, I
Well,
feel bad for them all. I
it,
don't, even the ones I don't, well, there's a couple of them I don't care
it's
for.
funny because there's a way to do it. There's a way to do high stress television without making it like this. And that's like, you think about, what about Cutthroat Kitchen? You don't think they have a lot to do where they get those sabotages where it's like, you are only allowed to cook this turkey dinner using a popcorn machine.
Yeah, yeah, and they still,
Like,
it's actually fun and a challenge
it's
for them.
very fun. And
And
the whole show is fun, entertaining, light, comedic, a couple of times dramatic, but for the most part, it's a very, very fun show.
there's, it's, I mean, talk about stress.
Yeah.
But it's, to me, it's kind of like a puzzle. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a, they're looking at that as a, like doing a hard puzzle, or, and like a challenge that it's a puzzle, and
Even
it's more fun.
even Worst Cooks in America is better. Even though those people are stressed out too because they're quote unquote the worst cooks in America, and they're trying to cook and make things that are good. So you have these different shows where it seems like even though these people are under a lot of stress, they're doing very stressful things, somehow they make good shows. With this, for some reason, it's almost like they think that making something a good show is by making people
Suffer.
suffer in a way where it's not entertaining. Like there's a difference between watching, because honestly, like when Dara lost season 1, I was like clapping and cheering because I hated her and I thought she was a little bitch, and I was so glad that she lost. Uh, but watching her now when she's cooking, it's like, she's clearly out of her league,
Yes.
and she deserves to have a fairer competition. She should have probably just been in a regular season. Just because she was in Junior doesn't mean she should have been in this show, because clearly she wasn't cut out for it. So it's like it's not entertaining to watch her fail in this show in comparison to that past show. I mean, Safi, did you enjoy watching her lose? Wasn't that fun?
No, because she was very
In
upset with
Junior,
herself.
in Junior,
Oh, in Junior?
where
No,
she was
I
really
didn't
full of herself, and she was like,
I didn't like the bow. The bow just made me want to burp.
yeah.
But she did really well in the show. And she also had a little bit of an attitude.
I'm sorry, Safi, but Alexander destroyed her.
Well, yeah, I say she did as well as she could, and she had a little bit of an attitude, but she wasn't stressed out and miserable.
Yeah.
I think she would have liked to have won, but you don't win cooking what you cook all the time at home. Stupid.
In fact, it would be fun to see her in Cutthroat Kitchen.
I don't know. I
For
don't think
example.
she. I don't know if she's. She went to culinary school, but I just don't know. Maybe she's. Like some of these people, even as children, you can just tell that they are. You could see them as adults, being a chef and cooking and coming up with things, but then others like her, I don't see it.
I don't know.
And I feel bad, but I don't see it at all.
I don't know. I don't
But
think
I don't know what
so.
she's going to do because I think this is what she's been doing forever, which is not a long time because she's just a kid, a young girl. So
It was kind of strange too when they both said that they never had alcohol before because, like, really,
yeah,
really,
but
Safi.
to cook with and make different dishes. I mean, I mean, look, we go to Wendy's and you get a bourbon bacon burger. So
Oh
it
yeah,
has bourbon in it. So
yeah.
Marco didn't cook with the bourbon. He went to Wendy's and had a bourbon bacon burger. Also, we've had pancakes, and I think we had a pancake syrup that, we're north of Kentucky.
Oh, Safi, you're already making me fall asleep with your reviewing.
Okay,
Okay. So,
anyway,
anyways, the episode is about. See, this is why I review things. This episode is about all the chefs have to cook with alcohol,
yeah,
and it's because the season 7 winner. I never watched
Shane.
season 7.
I watched it.
Uh,
I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot.
he came back, and his mystery box idea was assigning all the chefs with a different alcohol to cook with, which I thought was a very fun challenge idea. I would even say that it would be a fun challenge idea for the kids' Master Chef. And,
Right.
it's true, like, they're not drinking it, so, like, what would the problem with that be, Safi?
Nothing, but I just don't see it. Yeah, plus you have to taste the food,
Yeah.
but that big deal. Okay, but still, I don't think they would do it.
Well, I would, so. Anyways, that's the whole episode. It's another, and this just doesn't feel like MasterChef. Like we've we've not reviewed MasterChef until now, but it used to be where our complaints were number one, the show is extremely contrived, and it's contrived to the point where every episode just feels like fluffy pillow banana marshmallow clouds, uh, and it just doesn't feel natural. It feels like a contrived show. And number two, the people who get eliminated are terrible choices because a lot of the time people get to stay because the judges have a bias for them. For instance, probably the biggest bias besides Sarah in season 9 or 10 was Cesar. And Cesar was probably like the biggest, like just bias fucking contestant because he consistently screwed up all the time. And he got all the way to the finale and screwed up there too. And it was because they didn't make the right judgments in the season, and they kept him there way too long.
Yeah.
But in this season, my criticism is that it's not MasterChef. Like I picked the season to review when it doesn't even feel like MasterChef. What do you think about that, Safi?
I don't know.
Do
I
you
don't know what to
agree?
think.
Does it?
It's odd to me
Yeah.
too, but I don't know how to put the pinpoint on what the oddity is. Just it does not feel the same.
Well, the structure.
Well, just making the three plates, it's almost like you're thinking about, oh, I got to go in for a root canal. I'm really excited about it. Not, and to me, having these three plates, which sounds it doesn't sound right at first because you think, well, there's three judges. They should have three identical plates. But it's a little overkill, I think. And
Yeah, I don't like the three plates thing at all.
it's dominates the whole show
I know. It's like
because
that. Why even care about the food that you're making? Because you have to worry about making three identical plates.
it's like it's like this math technique Marco had to do when he was in school a few years ago, and that is I won't say what all that was called, but he had to learn how to do these certain math problems, and they only wanted him to do it this certain way. And even though you could do it multiple ways using other methods, coming up with the same answer, you're not allowed to do that. And it was just so, that's what this reminds me of. And I just don't like it. And it's very, I remember helping him, like, and it just, and it's learning the method and not the math. And to me, it's learning how to fake them out with three identical dishes and not the quality of the food. And that you saw it tonight. For the most part, the dishes, you heard him. They make comments, and the cameramen or the sound technicians, whoever, picking up the what they're saying. I don't know who's asking them or how that works, but they're saying, "Oh, oh no, oh yeah." One guy said, "Oh no, two of my
He made 3 duck breasts.
right." And duck's hard to cook. They've all said that on the show.
Two out of the 3 of them were overcooked.
Yeah.
One was perfect.
Yeah.
And so guess what he had to do? He had to remake all 3 duck breasts. He had to recook. Like, number one, what a horrible waste of food.
Yeah, and I look at that, and I'm waiting for my dinner, which is extremely late, and I'm thinking, God, that food looks so good. And I said, Marco, what are they going to do with that food? And he said, they're going to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, God. And, I mean, here he is. So he remakes it. Now, this is what they do. They picked out 3 people who they thought were pretty good, and they came up, each one, one at a time, they tasted all 3 of their dishes, and, and they were all good, like they said.
And then they did the opposite.
And then they did the opposite, but this guy, he wasn't in any of it.
So it was a complete waste.
What a waste of time. That's what I'm saying.
And it's all because I have to make every plate identical.
Yeah.
Like,
how could they do that? How
so
could those chefs
dumb.
waste this? Hopefully we're wrong, and they don't waste the food. If somebody knows about this and can tell us what happens with the food, because I mean, really, he had to start over again. That means he made 6 duck breasts to eat, and 1 out of the 2 first.
And like, so what?
Or 3.
So what? The 2 of them are overcooked. Like, I'll take a slightly overcooked duck breast over a raw duck breast.
Yeah, but of course you can't do that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, in terms of, homeless people wouldn't care about a duck breast being overcooked.
No, they
so
wouldn't.
it's pretty gay.
That's just wasteful.
I know.
And how could they do that? Because there are a lot of chefs who participate in hunger programs, cooking food for the hungry, and donating money to pantries and all this, and they're doing just the opposite.
Well,
wasting food.
That's Masterchef's motto, is wasting food.
I suppose so. But like Marco said, it's not pleasant and fun or nice to see, and you may not even like some of these people because they rub you the wrong way, or they're just irritating. But this thing with the 3 dishes is just like having a root canal. It's gross. I don't like it. In fact, it almost makes you stressed out yourself just watching it.
Yeah.
Like, when you're nervous, you might get a stomach ache, or you might start sweating, or you just feel awful. Well, that's what I feel when I'm watching that.
Yeah, it's not an enjoyable show to watch,
And
even though it should be. Even though it should be.
And it is a competition, I know. But, I mean, really, do they have to make it to where everybody has high blood pressure by the end of it, is on blood pressure medication?
Well, Shane was, like, having fun, though.
Don't tell me it's that one I don't like.
No. Shane.
Oh, that's the kid. Yeah.
He was having
he's
fun.
younger.
He was just like, hey, I made a pork chop. I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, he had a good Well, he was one of the junior master chefs to come back.
Yeah, and what do we say? He has a good attitude.
But she didn't. She was all.
That's because she's depressed and she's I don't know. She's
Perfectionist. The Asian F syndrome. I know. Whatever. But still.
well.
I would give. Had a good attitude.
I would give this episode. I wouldn't give it a real F or an Asian F. I would give this episode. I don't know. We'll talk about that later. But first off, another thing, the three plates thing completely has destroyed the show. Because I gotta be honest, I'm gonna reiterate this in every episode. I don't care about them having three identical plates.
I don't either.
It's the most stupid, irrelevant thing ever. The only competition where it would be relevant would be Hell's Kitchen, where they're auditioning to work in a restaurant. And to do that, you would have to have identical plating. And so this is like doing the restaurant challenge in every single episode. And it's not enjoyable. In terms of the three people who got in the top three, I can't even. There was that one, the black guy. Was he Christian? Is that what his name was?
I don't know.
His dish looked really good. He made this like coconut shrimp.
Oh yeah.
And that looked really good. I would have that was the dish that I probably would have chosen to eat out of all of them. And then there was Fred, who Safi is a fan of.
But I don't know about his food. It was a dessert, and he said he was making puff pastry. The pastry that has layers, multiple layers. I didn't see that. I saw these discs, and it looked like they were three. He'd made three, skewers with different things on them. That's what it looked like, but they weren't. They were. It was a sweet. It was a dessert.
And then the last person. Who was the last good person? The third one.
It had been a woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one?
Um.
Oh yeah, it was the girl who went up against the winner who was there. Brandy.
Oh.
She had a salmon and a shrimp and like a bok choy leaf on the plate.
Which I wasn't impressed with at all.
Medium rare salmon, of course, and they loved that. They were like, "Ooh, yeah, medium rare."
Yeah, they're into the medium rare.
Yeah, it's like a sickness
That
with
doesn't
them.
make any sense with fish because we see salmon sushi.
So what ended up happening was Fred won best dish of the episode.
And he got a little. They get a little pin this year.
It's an immunity pin,
So
Safi.
that means I guess the next time he doesn't have.
Next episode he's safe.
Next episode, yeah.
And so then the bottom three were Tommy, which I thought he was good in I don't know. I really the more you see of him, the more you think like, this guy doesn't belong here.
Well,
Because he's not here. He's here to, like, he says he wants to put fashion on a plate. And like, no. Please no. Like, no. Like, that's something that a Kitchen Nightmares person would say when Chef Ramsay's interviewing them in the episode. Like, that's not something that a good, like, an honest chef would say. So
it's just he is a regular fashion person, and this isn't fashion. And I wish he'd leave. I just don't. Last time I liked him, I thought he was really clever and interesting and fun. But this time he is stressed out.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He isn't usually like this. He was not like this before.
Really?
Mm-mm. No way.
That's unfortunate.
He was very,
Because that's why they brought him back.
Everything's with a flourish, with dramatic arms. And,
That's why they brought him back. They wanted that from him.
no.
And so he can't give that anymore
He can't
because
he's so stressed out.
he's too busy worrying about cooking ridiculous 3 identical plates. What are they going to have to cook 6 plates in the finale?
I don't know, but I mean, he's a really good example because he's, like I said, he doesn't belong there, and I want him to go. But he is a very laid back, artistic. He's into fashion design and just really interesting fashion. And last time he was on, I watched it. I really liked him. He was just very expressive, and he made these dishes, and he was happy and creative.
His version of expressive in this season
is bad.
Is his dish was
so much stress.
His dish was hilarious. It was hilarious.
I don't know what the dish was. It looked
Safi.
Well, I don't want to say what it looked like.
Safi, he took a puke green plate like the Exorcist puke, you know, the pea soup vomit. He took a pea soup vomit plate and he put all these monkey balls all over it. And then
it's supposed to be sweet potatoes, I believe. And I have never seen that in my life. I've never seen sweet potatoes put on a plate like that.
I wouldn't want to because it's gross looking.
The biggest change I had, we were in South Carolina, and we had a baked sweet potato. I never had that before. Now that's pretty commonplace now.
Safi.
But I wouldn't eat any kind of potato like that. It was gross. It looked gross, and they said that. The judges didn't like it.
So in Masterchef Junior, we had that Mafia Don, and he made like a turd bar, and now we have Tommy, and he makes a plate of monkey balls. And then Dara was also nominated, which was pretty frustrating.
For bad.
It was
frustrating.
It was frustrating for everyone, the audience, because she did not make her caramel right, and that was the main place where her rum was. And
it was overcooked.
It was smart to leave it off the plate. And Samantha even told her, if it's not good, don't put it on the plate. And so what happens? They still put her up for worst dish. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, she left it off the plate. Like, she tried to fix her mistake as best as possible, and she couldn't because she's too busy worrying about making 3 fucking plates that are identical to each other. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole plate thing, it's ruining everything. And so she was up there, and it was too bad because, like, she had the best. I think that rum is probably the best for, like, a dessert like that, of course. And I bet it would have been really good to have a caramel rum sauce. So that was unfortunate. And then the last person who was nominated was this woman named Kate. Not Ryan Kate, but just Kate. I think I called her in the auditions Legally Blonde. Her dish, she had a similar issue where she made these cakes and she had bourbon, which they considered the easiest alcohol.
Yeah, really.
So it was funny that she got sent home, but oh, Safi, that's disgusting. Her cakes, they were undercooked, overcooked. They were a mess.
They were a disaster.
And so she took like bits that she thought were good and just put all these torn apart bits on the plates. and then they criticized her for it. And it's like, what was she supposed to do? Like, genuinely, like, what was she supposed to do?
And she called it deconstructed
Yeah.
because she had sauce on it. She had some cream on there on the plate. And let's say the cake had been good and she was going to make a deconstructed whatever anyway. So would they still have gotten upset about it? I don't know.
I don't know. And see, that's the problem, is that they end up sending her home.
Yes.
And I thought it was a terrible choice because they're already doing the bias thing where Tommy has made a mistake 2 weeks in a row and they're still keeping him there. And it's the same old thing where it's like, let's keep that person who makes a mistake every week and then let's send someone else home after they just made their first mistake. It's ridiculous. And, again, what was she supposed to do? She had no time left. If she had left that ingredient off the plate, then they would have criticized her like the Asian girl, or they criticized her for leaving that off the plate. So she literally didn't have any choice at all. And so you can see that it's unfair. And not only that, but then we find out the real reason that they sent her home. And why is that, Safi?
Because in the season that she was in, she was a semifinalist, and so in the last week, the person they sent home was also a semifinalist, and so they felt like if any of these people had reached that position in the previous season, that if they didn't pass muster, meaning they didn't do their dish right, then they shouldn't even be there because they should know by now what they're supposed to do.
No, it was a message to all the other chefs there that,
That's
ooh, look, uh, two semifinalists just got sent home. Wow, this season is dangerous. That was literally the whole point of those two people getting sent home.
well,
Like, we now know the guy in the first episode, he should have stayed. Now we know that that girl in this episode should have stayed. So they totally made a biased judging decision so that they could do that and say, look, semifinalists aren't safe. So I would rate this episode a D minus again because I don't like it at all. I don't like the show. I think it's terrible, not entertaining, and pretentious as hell. Safi, what would you give it?
I just give it a C minus,
Okay.
and that's being, what would you call it, generous.
Okay.
Because I just don't. I have enough stress, and I can get in stress like that, and for other reasons, and I just don't. It's not right. And to me, it's not really measuring their cooking skills. What's the point of the show? I thought the point of it was to measure their cooking skills. Who had the best? Who came up with the best dish? Maybe the most original, the best cooked of something that everybody knows. I don't know. But it shouldn't be like this. It just isn't right. It isn't fun. I mean, shouldn't it be fun? Does it have to be? Do you have to have? Is this called? Should this be called the high blood pressure show? Is that really entertainment? I don't think so. So if you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe. If you would like to, we love new subscribers and we welcome your opinion. Or I had a couple of questions. I asked them at the beginning, in the middle, and like, what do they do with the food? Do they really throw it all in the trash? Do you think that's right? and what do you think they should do with it? And that's it. And the next episode we'll be doing will be tomorrow night. We will be watching a blooper episode and the finale of MasterChef Junior for this year, this season.
So,
So goodbye.
bye.